Our Women on Wellness segment, Ms. Riza Nang, will journey us to mindful parenting. Our speaker is a licensed psychologist with a private practice in the Ateneo Bolatao Center for Psychological Services. She is also a part-time faculty of the Departments of Psychology in the Ateneo de Manila University and the University of the Philippines.
Hello, good morning again to everyone. And I'd like to thank you for being here for our second part on mindful parenting and how we can practice this, especially to our children who are athletes as well. So allow me to introduce myself. Again, I am Riza Nang and I'm a clinical psychologist. So for our second session, itong mga objectives natin. Let's talk about some strategies that we can employ for mindful parenting. And especially for parents, how can we support our child athletes mindfully? How can parents ease their children's anxiety before a big game? And how do we help our children and maybe ourselves how to handle if they win or they lose gracefully? Okay. So, balikan lang natin anong mga napag-usapan natin during our first session on what is mindful parenting. We discussed that mindful parenting is intentionally attending to the needs of our children at the moment with compassion and non-judgmental. And I want to highlight here that this is about observing the present dispassionately and cultivating the ability to create the moment of choice where we can respond intentionally rather than blindly reacting. Then you, as a parent, can make better, conscious, and empowered choices. So with mindful parenting, how can we help our children handle the anxiety, especially if there's a big game coming up? So, ano ba muna yung stress? Pag-usapan natin, no? So, there's such a thing called normative stress. This is the day-to-day stressful experiences that we encounter. Bilang magulang, di ba, ang mga stress natin. Yung bang nasa grocery tayo and we are in a rush or we want to continue protecting ourselves, keeping ourselves safe when we're in the grocery, yung parking, o kaya kakasya ba yung budget natin. These are normal stress and the way that we react to these it's a healthy way. Parang teka, sasabihin niyo, paano naging healthy yun? Well, it's healthy because it alerts us. It's a warning system that there are, we have responsibilities. The emotional reaction alerts us that we have priorities that we have to focus on. So, in a healthy way, this helps us to organize our behavior, to prioritize, to look at the things that we need to put things first so for our own safety and survival. But there's also what we call toxic positivity when we want to enforce our reactions to the best, but at the extent naman that we sacrifice or we create an unhealthy reaction towards ourselves and our children. Yung mga pinipilit natin na dapat maging okay ako, okay na dapat yung anak ko, ganun. But then we're not attuned to the needs of our children, our own needs. So that is when it becomes toxic, harmful, and it's flawed. Okay. Now also, I'd like to point out to you that our response, which is to be anxious, can either be productive or it can be debilitating. When we say productive anxiety, that was what I was mentioning earlier, that when there is normative stress, there is productive anxiety because it alerts us to respond to a normative stress situation. But a debilitating anxiety is when you respond in an unhealthy way. Ito na yung pag hindi na tayo mindful. Ito yung when you get stuck in system 1 thinking that I discussed in our earlier session. So that is debilitating already because hindi na siya akma doon sa situation. Our mind can mindlessly get carried away because stress becomes especially overwhelming when we get carried away with our thinking, our system one thinking. Now, anxiety is our body's way of self-preservation. So we need to attend to, to the normative stress with productive anxiety. Particularly for our children athletes, how can we help them navigate anxiety? So we have to let our anxiety remind us to do what we can. We have to put our energies on what we can control. So some examples that can be helpful is have a routine, be productive, and to practice system two thinking, especially in mindful parenting. So what are these? Number one, remember our four P's: pronto, pause, and parse, and to pay attention. So the four P's will help us to be calm, to not lose our temper and give a knee-jerk reaction na minsan nagagalit na tayo, and not mindful about the people around us, kung tama ba yung lugar, nasa lugar ba tayo, tama ba yung timing natin. So we have to be calm. Give a calm reaction or a response. A second one is a continuation of the system two thinking. Let's notice and pay attention to our verbals, our nonverbals, and we can begin to model this to our children. Eventually and over time, our children can also absorb this practice. And our children, modeled by us, can begin to also notice and pay attention to their own needs. They can also notice if they are the ones who need to step up. Are they the ones who are being forgetful? They can also notice if they are becoming disrespectful towards their parents. So when we practice this, we can begin to model this to our children. So the system two thinking is when we can be calm, then we can notice and pay attention. And what can we pay attention to? This is the foreground and the background. The foreground is what is presented to you. So you can notice maybe your children is hungry, tired, your child is carrying too many things, and exasperated na yung anak ninyo. So foreground are those details, those things that you can be more mindful to. But the background is what is not presented to you. It is yung kumbaga nasa likod. What are the things that is not presented to you but are important? Maybe your child has assignments that nahihirapan siya and kailangan niya ng tulong, hindi lang niya sinasabi. Maybe background information also is, does your child have adequate space, time, light sa room niya, sa pag-aaral niya? Or baka, nahihirapan siya sa pag-aaral niya, lalo na ngayon na nasa online schooling tayo. So are there things that you're missing out, that you are forgetting, or that you are not attuned to? So with mindfulness, it helps your mind slow down and be able to read what are the things that you need to pay more attention to. And from there, you can respond purposefully. You can watch your language, you can watch your body language also, your facial expression, the tone of your voice, and you can also begin to choose your words. Instead of being quick to say like, ang tamad-tamad mo, you can practice words that are saying like, anak, what help do you need? Anak, what does mama need to know about your online class? So these are some questions that you can respond purposefully. And what is very important also in my parenting talks that I want to always teach the parents, know what is essential versus the non-essential. Be able to differentiate things that are important that you need to attend to, and what are the things that are not important at pwede na rin palampasin, pwedeng pagbigyan, pwedeng pang next time na lang. And also identify what are the things that are within your control that you can work around, and what are the things that you cannot control. Instead of responding with conflict, the parent can see himself or herself as an ally. Practicing mindfulness can help parents support a child athlete's developmental needs for exploration and autonomy. Let's be mindful of what Dan Siegel, a parenting expert, who says this. As children develop, their brains mirror their parents' brain. In other words, the parent's own growth and development, or lack thereof, impact the children's brain. As parents become more aware and emotionally healthy, their children reap the rewards and move towards health as well. Naalala ko yung example ni Dan Siegel na I think in tennis, you may understand this, yung serve and return, that when you play, one player serves and the other player will return. So that's the dynamics between the parent and the children, that however the parent interacts with the child reciprocates. So if a parent responds compassionately, empathetically with the child is able to reciprocate this back to the parent. That's the return and the serve and the return that we are espousing here. Our next objective that I'd like to share with you is how can we teach children how to handle the challenges when they become anxious if there's a game up ahead. So I have these three examples that I hope that you can teach to your children. Just like what I thought about the 4 Ps, we can help calm their anxiety with some breathing exercises. So we can practice the 4-7-8 inhale, hold, exhale exercise. So if you can practice with me, when you see your child being anxious, you can invite your child to breathe and say, Anak, let's breathe. Let's breathe with mama. Okay, let's breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 7 counts. And slowly exhale for 8 counts. You can do this with your mouth. And then you can repeat this breathing exercise of inhale, hold, and exhale. By teaching our children the breathing exercise, they're able to channel their attention into their own internal way of breathing instead of being carried away by their external stimuli of the audience, the arena, the sound of the audience or the car or other players around. They're able to channel and focus their attention to their own breathing. And this is a simple exercise also that helps balance their oxygen intake and their carbon dioxide exhalation. Another way to help calm their anxiety is to ground their attention. So aside from the breathing, they can also ground their attention using their 5 senses into a place where they are. So I picked this hallway because I think with child athletes, this is normally what they find themselves into. No? They're in their locker rooms. There is this hallway that brings them into the arena or the stadium. So where they are, you can simply just turn them towards you, and then you can say, let's calm ourselves and tell me 5 things that you see. So from that moment of anxiety, you invite them to focus again and identify 5 things that they see. It can be the light. I see the light that is encased in a round shape. I see the wall. I see the colors of the wall. It's brown. I see horizontal lines. I see the floor. It has circles created by the light. So you can invite your child to look into more details. You can look also for 4 objects that you hear. I hear my breathing. I hear the audience. I hear my coach's voice at the background. I hear the water outside. Then further down, you say, Anak, tell me three objects that you feel. I feel my shirt. I feel that my shirt it's against my skin. I feel the edges of my shirt. I feel the thread. I feel my shorts, it's soft. I can feel the laces of my rubber shoes. Anak, can you tell me two objects that you smell? I smell the Fabcon on my shirt. I smell the ball. I smell the shuttlecock. I smell the my towel. Okay, can you tell me one object that you can taste? I can taste the water. I can taste the juice that I drank. I can taste um, the milk that I drank earlier. Okay, so Anak, you told me about the five objects that you see, that you hear, that you feel, you smell, and you taste. So by that simple exercise, we're helping our child calm down and again not be carried away by their thinking one or their system one thinking. And the last, another way to help your children calm down, be less anxious, is to be more mindful of their environment. If they're younger, you can help play the game I Spy, but it's being more focused with their sense of sight. So you can help them tell me or show me or name something that is red. So I got this photo of a kitchen, a normal kitchen lang, no? They can say something red. I see maybe a chopping board, maybe I see a red cup, I see I see the red towel. Okay, tell me something that's blue. I see the water jug or the gallon of water. Um, I see also another blue gallon so my floor. So again, then you go down the list of colors. So identifying and being more mindful of colors, being more mindful about their senses, being more mindful about their breathing are simple exercises and steps that you can help your child be less anxious because they're able to control their breathing, they're able to identify the details in their environment about their sensorial experiences. And it doesn't have to be limited to this. It can also be a simple mindful walking. So you can invite your child, anak, doon muna tayo sa garden, maglakad tayo. And so you practice breathing, you practice mindful walking. It's just being very slow, deliberate walking. And you can walk hand in hand, and that helps your child already to reconnect again your relationship as parent and child, to reconnect again with yung purpose na dito sa game na to. Okay? And so the last objective for this talk is how do we help ourselves and our children on how to deal with winning or losing. There's this psychologist who talks about a mindset. So si Carol Dweck talks about having the mindset of fixed versus the growth mindset. In a fixed mindset, again, this is much like the system one thinking. When we are stuck, we are fixed, we tend to um, go around and repeated and cyclical thinking where we ruminate on our regrets, our moments of guilt. What did we do wrong? What did I say? I could have done this. I should have said this. So that's the fixed mindset. But Carol Dweck invites us that we can go beyond a fixed mindset and go to a growth mindset. It is moving away from a cyclical thinking to where we can improve. What can we do next? How can I do things differently? So in a growth mindset, we can do the 3, 2, 1. So you can, as parents, here in the audience, I invite you to try this out. No? So, three things that I'm grateful for. What are the three things that you're grateful for? So, like, I'm grateful for the opportunity, for me personally, the opportunity to give this talk to you. I am grateful for the career or the profession that I have, that I can reach out to people and improve and work on their parenting or on how they can be better persons. I am grateful also for example, like I have this mechanism. I have Zoom. We have this so that I can reach out to audience online. Okay? Kayo po, what are the three things that you're grateful for? So after the three things that you're grateful for, you can go to number two. Two things that you can change or do differently. What are the two things that you can change and do differently? You might want to improve on the way that you talk. So from now on, I am going to use less insulting words and choose my words carefully. Or I can do differently the way I drive. I can, just for today, let me start to drive differently. And then you might notice that one day becomes 2 days, 2 days becomes 3 days, and it becomes now a habit. And that habit can change your character. And lastly, one thing that I should stop or maybe give up. I can maybe stop playing games, video games on one day of the week. Or maybe I can give up junk food just for 2 days in a week. Or maybe I can give up Netflix for one day. Or maybe, it's up to you. But having a 3-2-1, things that you're grateful for, things that you can do or change differently, or things that I can stop or give up. This is already a growth mindset because it brings you from your spot that you are fixated in into another spot that you can be a different person. You can do things differently and you can be a better person. All right, so as we close, let us be reminded from our first talk, we talked about mindful parenting. We can make powerful choices to pause, pay attention, and respond with kindness. And we can model this to our children who can practice mindful sports. And for today's session, we talked about how we can handle our children's anxiety or maybe our own anxiety, and how we can also begin the growth mindset. Consider choices that enable you and your child to focus on a growth mindset in mindfulness, where you are and where you need to be. So I'd like to close with a quote from Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, there is a moment. And in that space or moment is our power to choose our response. And in your response lies our growth and our freedom. So again, I'd like to thank you for being here in attending mindfulness and mindful parenting. Thank you very much and have a good week ahead.